Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the blue corner, Mark Hardy.
Welcome to the jungle. King of this shit, royal blood. Welcome to the rumble. Every man for himself, Coco be wearing a square, you know. Inside the square circle, cuz curb your trust for killers and robbers and servers up. Snakes in the grass, get the turf a cut. Can't be friend and burger lust. Killing these bills who are firming up. Getting that belly like Sherman Clump. Show's over when the curtain's shut, but minds are blinds and I'm turning up. Ooh, yeah, bet you heard of us. Big Mike man like merciless. Whoa. They say crime's not popping like it was back then. Rap's not honest like it was back then. When I get gassed in the booth like this, niggas go bonkers like it was Mac 10. Roll Jack Jones if it ain't man them. And again, roll Jack Jones if it ain't man them. Don't make money but it does make sense. Calmest of arse and it's light up a dance like bars with the sparklers out in moms with the arming and arms with your click one boss, holy for Marvigans. I'm begging Buddha still to go in yard in a rolling with rusters, holy for Farvigans. Then I'll be back in East for the G's. That ain't no gangsters, mate. It's the guys.
And please welcome to the red corner, Slippery George West.
Ocean Park. Pop a perky just to start up. Pop it. Pop 2 cups of purple just to warm up. 2 cups. Drink. I heard your bitch, she got that water. Splash. Drip. Drip. Woo. Splash. Hey. Slippery. Whoa. Excuse me. Please me. Please. I'm up. Oh, believe me. Get beat. Cause I'm flexing Rarries. You can bet on me. Hey. Tater tot. Fuck niggas on my radar watch. Watch him crack a die hunter. Turn them to some gator shots. Iced out watch. Ice. Ride round 10 o'clock. Ride round, get the down. Think it's 3 o'clock. 4 o'clock. 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock. I'm gon' pop. If I don't, I'm back to the pots. I got rocks. Big bells, big arms. Tummy gun. Come out and play, let's have fun. Big scales. Fish scale. Big weight. Fish. Iceberg. Ice tray.
Ladies and gentlemen, your fighter, fighting out of the blue corner, making his debut from Tapout knockout in Carlisle, this is Mark Hardy. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, making his debut from DNA MMA in York, this is Slippery George West.
Big pops for both men here as they make their debuts. Mark Hardy Tapout knock out Carlisle in the blue corner. Slippery George West in the red. Last few words here from the referee before we get this one underway. And Harry, I mean, for a debut, that's a great crowd pop for both men, isn't it?
Yeah, both men got really good receptions. I know Tapout knockout, fantastic gym. They've got fighters on every show, very well represented, and he's immediately pressuring in. And then obviously the DNA MMA man just from York, just down the road, so very well represented.
Quick action here and a nice stiff backhand there from Mark Hardy.
Both men are exchanging. Mark Harding is just marching his way into striking range and he's just firing his shots. He is putting himself at risk, but he's just marching his way into range and firing his shots.
Slightly taller of the two men is Mark Hardy.
Slippery George We haven't had a chance to see him grappling, but I'm hoping to see some like slick escapes from a nickname like that. Beautiful striking from him, breaking on the clinch, and then Mark Harding lands a good right hand, like in a dirty boxing exchange.
Big shots now again from Harding.
Both men doing a good job of like hitting on the break of the clinch. Maybe going to see some old Roberto Duran action.
Taking some time here, just catching that breath. It's been a very, very quick opening minute to this fight.
Yeah, it's slowing down a little bit. I feel like the adrenaline dump's kind of happening. They're both, the first deep breaths are hitting them both.
Blood just seems to be trickling from the nose of George West there, who lands a lovely backhand.
Both of these guys have landed big shots on each other. They both have fantastic chins.
Lovely knee up the middle from West.
Yeah, the infighting is really impressing me. Like, as they both enter range, they're not holding, they're not negating the action. As clinch is happening, they're both just landing strikes. The striking from the clinch has impressed me from both fighters.
Nice shots again. This has been really, really high intensity, hasn't it? We're just coming up here at the 2-minute mark of this opening round.
Yeah, and like that dirty boxing's really tiring. It's two completely different energy systems. It's the isometric strength of the clinching with the explosive quick twitch of the striking. So it's very tiring work, and the fact that both of them are just being so relentless with it is very impressive.
I know I mentioned it before there just slightly, but there does appear to be blood coming from the nose of George West. As this fight goes on, how much more difficult does that make your breathing?
My brother George is the one who's had all the nose problems in fights, so I'd have to ask him, but it can really just hinder your breathing. Like it gets to a point where your nose just becomes unusable.
Lovely strike there from Mark Harding just in this clinch. Nice knee up the middle.
They're both striking so much from the clinch. Beautiful right hand as he let go, and the body kick. That was a really nice exchange. That was almost Kobe Covington-esque, just breaking, striking and reshooting. George grabbing that neck.
Gonna get his neck. 10 seconds to go, but Harding manages to get out.
And then George fires a 3 or 4 punch combination into a kick on the exit of a clinch.
And what an opening round this is for these two making their MMA debuts.
This has been a very impressive fight. Considering the fight hasn't actually hit the floor at any point, this has been a really mixed martial arts fight. There's been lots of clinching, lots of striking on the clinch, lots of dirty boxing, lots of standing submission attempts. This has been the most mixed martial arts that can happen in a round without the round actually touching the floor.
And look, as we said earlier on, both from very, very reputable gyms, of course, DNA MMA in York and Tapout Knockout. But this is exactly what you see when you put these guys from high-level gyms against each other in debuts. You're going to get fights like this.
Yeah, this is really good. And the fact that they're mixing it up so well, they're making adjustments, but it's still very tit for tat. Both lads have landed shots on one another that would drop many fighters. Like both fighters have taken some shots in that first round, and now it's all about seeing who is fresher in round 2.
Seconds just making their way out of the cage here before we go ahead with this second of 3 rounds should we need them. And I'll be really interested to see after this minute then if they've still got that energy. They both seem to be breathing a little bit heavier than they were earlier on. That was a lot of output from both men.
Yeah, I would say just going on visuals, George looks a little bit fresher, but Mark again just coming out firing his shots as soon as the round starts.
Taking a bit of time here, just feeling each other. The feints, I've even been impressed with that. Just the amount of feints that they have been throwing earlier on, especially in that first round, just trying to get a read on their opponent.
Yeah, I feel like Mark's low kick is landing well because he's faking it. He's not just throwing loads of low kicks. I think there might have been a little bit of a clash of heads in there, but luckily it wasn't too bad. George now pressing Mark to the fence, but Mark breaking and firing.
It's every time on the break we're seeing Mark Harding throwing these strikes.
Yeah, and then the few times that Mark hasn't been able to get his strikes off, George has just immediately started firing. Both of these guys, their strikes on the breaks, their dirty boxing and their infighting has really impressed me. Mark with the right hand, and he nearly gets through to the standing back control, but George does a good job of pummeling his underhook in. Mark breaks and lands that left hook.
You know all about them standing back control, Terry, of course. A beautiful finish in your last fight.
That didn't feel as cool as it looked.
It looked great. Exchanging leg kicks now, the two men.
George managing to pressure. Mark seems to be putting more energy into his strikes, but he is landing more. However, he is fighting at a really high output. There is only so long you can sustain that for. The fakes are starting to disappear from Mark's stance as George is pressing him to the fence. However, I would have Mark comfortably ahead in this round so far, so it is all up to George now to get on the gas, up his output and land some strikes within the last minute of this round if he wants to take this round.
Look, George visibly is the smaller man. What does he need to do to try and negate any height or reach disadvantage he might be at here?
He needs to attack the body, mix it up there beautifully, and maybe like time his entries underneath Mark's strikes. Mark is throwing his right hand without really setting it up a fair bit now, not as much as he was earlier. So George could maybe look to duck under that and get straight in on the legs. Beautiful right hand. I can't tell if that actually hurt Mark or if Mark was just going into a more defensive clinch position. But George has a solid body lock, and I think he's got Mark's wizard beat. He's on his way around his back.
He's going to look to try and take the back here. It's slippery George West. Is this the first time we're going to get to see some of this grappling from the DNA MMA man? 30 seconds left to go here in this second round.
He's nearly got a standing back take, and Mark does a beautiful job of pummeling his elbow back inside. This is some good quality work from George that could steal him the round if it keeps going like this. This fight has been so tit for tat. I have no idea who won the first round. The second round's been close. Both of these guys are fighting super hard.
Blood now coming from the nose of Mark Harden as well. Both men going to be leaving this debut with some battle scars, and a lovely takedown attempt, and he gets it. Slippery just on the bell.
I don't know. Obviously couldn't do enough with that to maybe steal the round, but also the round was that close leading up to it that maybe something like that could sway the judges. That was a really, really tough round to score, I think. I think Mark definitely had the better quality work early. George managed to do a good job of pulling it back, but this fight's been great. I'm thoroughly just glad I don't have to judge. I'm glad I can just enjoy it.
Yeah, it's been a really good and a really high level fight for being two debuts as well. The shot selection, the shots when they're coming out on the break, everything's just been really, really high level for two guys making their debut.
Yeah, I feel like just with a little bit more experience, like some of the mistakes that are happening would get filtered out. Both guys are doing a really, really good job in the debuts. Both guys and their coaches should be proud regardless of what happens in the third round. But we've got a third round, and I'm buzzing to have one. This has been a fantastic fight.
Big deep breaths here from both men going into this.
Yeah, Mark seems to sort of visibly show fatigue a little bit more, but he still seems very explosive and he's still got a high output. He might be just kind of like, like Dominic Cruz would always be taking deep breaths from like the moment round one starts. He might just be that kind of guy.
Lovely show of respect between the two to get this third and final round underway, with Mark opening with a heavy leg kick.
And then he goes to the head kick off it. George firing back with his own leg kick. And both of them ending up in this infighting range, and both still landing strikes up close like this. Mark with some big knees, nearly gets the trip, and George counters to get into this body lock position. This could be a crucial exchange to the fight. If George can get a takedown and consolidate the position, this could maybe steal the fight for him.
And he's really looking for it, but Mark Harden is doing a good job here of staying on his feet.
Yeah, this is a clutch exchange here, really. Like, both guys have got to really think, like, Mark just cannot afford to be taken down, and George, if he gets that takedown, it will be massive for him.
The referee calling for some more action here.
Mark doing a fantastic job of like fighting through with his whizzer and getting like a very interesting wrist grip to strip the grip and take away George's body lock. And now they're back in this infighting range with Mark now pressing the action and trying to push George into the fence, and breaks with that left hook right hand. Beautiful strikes. And
there is the takedown that you were calling for, Harry.
Yeah, he has eaten some strikes this round, so he cannot afford to just hold this position. He needs to progress towards finishing positions, and also neither man can really be confident that they took the first two rounds. This could be two rounds either way. I mean, it could be 2 rounds to one, 2 rounds to the other. It could be 1-1. Neither can be confident. They both need to be fighting towards a finish.
Less than 90 seconds left now in this round as slippery George West looks for the finish.
He looks for the finish. He's only got one hook in and he's quite high. There is every chance he falls off, but you don't necessarily need both hooks for a rear naked choke to work.
We can't quite see if that's under the chin or not, but it doesn't appear to be, but it doesn't have to be to finish.
And he managed to, even though he didn't get the choke, he managed to maintain top position, which is crucial. And this one looks closer. It looks like it's getting under the neck.
50 seconds to go, and it's all over! Slippery George West picks up a third round submission victory in his debut. But what a fight that was, Harry.
That was an amazing back and forth fight. Mark should be able, he should hold his head high. That was a fantastic fight, not just for a debut, not just for 2 debuts. That was a fantastic fight, period. Both of them should be happy with themselves. But Slippery George West, just amazing takedown, force half guard, get the back on the scramble, and there was a clutch moment. He went for the rear naked without the hooks, but did an excellent job of not falling off the top position, and then that gave him the chance to get the finish.
Look, the second that was in, you seen the tap, you knew that was in really tight. But like you say, the adjustments that we seen them making there in the back, we can only presume with his nickname being Slippery, it was all about that ground game. And what a fantastic, fantastic fight that was.
Yeah, both fighters did a great job. I love the striking on the break from both guys. Both men should hold their heads high, but that was a fantastic rear naked choke from Slippery George.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee has stopped this contest in favor of your winner by rear naked choke, and in the red corner,